The longest-serving manager in La Liga has steered Atletico Madrid away from mid-table mediocrity for over a decade now. The fearless nature of Diego Simeone places him in the rare category of managers who spread their ruthless nature into the very identity of the team. Simeone's Atletico has always been fueled by fire and ferocity, which has seeped into the club's culture over the years. To win La Liga when Barcelona and Real Madrid were the biggest powerhouses in the world is no small feat. But when we talk about great managers, his name is often omitted. Why isn't the two-time La Liga winner, two-time Europa League champion, two-time UEFA Super Cup winner, and yes, you guessed it, two times Champions League finalist, not considered one of the greats of his era? The casual answer might be Atletico play boring defensive football, so they don't deserve their flowers. But nothing could be further from the truth, really. Simeone has had to evolve his playing style over time, and if anything has remained constant during his tenure, it would be his uncompromising approach to demanding relentless efforts from his players. Defense is an art in football, and while the modern generation seems to have forgotten about the Catenaccio era of Italian glory days, defenses have won a lot of titles in the past. The manager has had a Wenger-like career while employing Mourinho-like tactics. While his efforts have always gone under the radar outside of Spain, he's a legend at the club already. So we decided to shed some light on this underrated enigma of the sport and show you how he has led Atletico Madrid to such great heights. The former Atletico player had an illustrious playing career back in the day. A two-time Copa America winner with Argentina, he spent the majority of his career playing in Italy for Inter and then Lazio. Looking at his loud and fiery demeanor, you could probably guess which position he played in the 90s. The fearless destroyer wouldn't take any nonsense and was known for his aggressive playing style. Very similar to Gattuso and Roy Keane in his ways, he was a natural-born leader. He won the Spanish League title with Atletico Madrid in 1996 and the Serie A with Lazio 5 years later. After retiring from Racing Club in February 2006, he immediately became their manager till the end of the season. He learned the managerial ropes in Argentina before moving to Italy in January 2011. Even though he spent only 5 months in the country managing Catania, it was his biggest learning curve before joining Atletico Madrid less than a year later. Atletico had won the Europa League under Quique Sanchez Flores 18 months before Diego's arrival, but their performances in the league had been abysmal. They fell to 9th and 7th under Quique Sanchez. Simeone arrived mid-season in 2011-12 and found a historic club that had earned a mid-table reputation over the past few years. Agüero, Forlan, and a promising young De Gea had just left the club before he arrived. He immediately set to work building the team around his defense, more particularly around Courtois and Diego Godin at the back. Through Italian influence, Simeone implemented a playing style that would come to be known as Cholismo. On paper, it was a narrow 4-4-2 formation with a pragmatic approach that relied on counters. All he asked for was unconditional commitment from the players. He wanted soldiers who would run through the walls for him when needed. Old ties with the club already made him feel welcome with the fans, and a Europa League trophy within 6 months of his tenure strengthened the bond. It was against the very nature of the sport to be more competent off the ball than in possession, but that's exactly what Simeone wanted from his players. The 2012-13 season was his first full season with the club, and there was now more silverware to come again. Until then, Atletico Madrid were hardly considered to be capable of beating the two giants in Spain. They hadn't won the previous 25 matches against Real Madrid before the 2013 Copa del Rey final. Mourinho's shiny Real Madrid side were like the better version of Atletico in all aspects of the game. After a hard-fought 120 minutes full of drama and temper, including Ronaldo and Mourinho getting sent off, Atletico beat their noisy neighbours to lift the Spanish Cup. It was the dawn of a new era as a third giant seemed to be waking up in Spain. But it was the third season in charge when Cholo led the club to their most sensational season since 1996, when he had won the league as an Atletico player. Between Barcelona's mastery of possession-based tiki-taka style and Real Madrid's bottomless wallets, he compromised on aesthetics and entertainment in favor of brute force and efficiency. The 2013-14 season started out with a blow of their major goal threat, Falcao leaving for Monaco. He was replaced by a past his peak David Villa, who linked up with Diego Costa. They had an impressive string of results in the beginning, mostly due to an almost impenetrable defense. But the first spark arrived in late September when Costa's only goal decided the outcome at the Santiago Bernabeu. This was Atletico's second win against Real Madrid in 14 years. They drew against Real Madrid at home, which gave another spark of hope to the fans. The atmosphere inside the Vicente Calderón was a sight to behold that season. After the draw with Real Madrid, Simeone didn't drop a single point over the next 2 months. By the end of March, they were back on top of the table, while Costa was firing on all fronts in his breakout season. The final day of the season saw them travel to the Camp Nou, with the Catalans needing a victory to steal the title. A spectacular goal from Alexis Sanchez in the first half sank many hearts temporarily, but Diego Godin headed in the equaliser from a corner in the second half. Then it was down to the gritty and disciplined Atletico defence, which helped them see out a draw and win their first league title since 1996. It was a historic moment for the club, as well as a warning sign for the rest of the league that a new contender had emerged in Spain. But the season was far from over, as they had the chance to win their maiden Champions League title soon. The final was against who else but bitter rivals Real Madrid. The league win had made their resolve even stronger to make history in the last match of the season. Diego Costa had ended the season with 27 league goals, but had sacrificed his hamstring by the end of the league. A naturally aggressive Costa had to be injected with anything legal that could see him play in the final. He was an animal in his prime, but that animal couldn't make it past just 10 minutes, and Simeone lost his focal point in attack at the very start. But Diego Godin rose the highest for a second time that week to head in the opening goal that evening. What followed was a defensive masterclass, with 11 Atletico players putting their body on the line to prevent a goal, until the infamous 94th minute, when Ramos headed in the equaliser and broke every single Atletico fan's hearts. The last-minute dagger proved to be extremely overwhelming for the players, as they conceded 3 more goals in extra time and went home having almost touched the pinnacle of club football. He reached the final again just 2 years later in 2016 to face the very same opponent. They had lost the league by just 3 points to Barcelona and were looking to bounce back. Ramos opened the scoring this time, and shortly after, Griezmann missed a penalty. But Carrasco came off the bench to equalise and drag the final to a penalty shootout. Juanfran's miss was enough for Ronaldo to step up and win the Champions League again. Atletico Madrid became the only team to have reached 3 Champions League finals without ever winning it. The Argentine manager has always worked with relatively fewer resources than the 2 giants of Spain, but has consistently vied for the title. It's probably this trait which makes him one of the highest paid managers in the world. He won the Europa League again in 2018 and another La Liga in 2020. The manager is usually mentioned along the lines of pragmatism and anti-football claims, which make his tactical intelligence criminally underrated. Through the years, El Cholo has lost out on key players like Rodri, Partey and Griezmann, but his ability to adapt to what's available to him makes him one of the greatest managers in modern history. The so-called old-fashioned style of play, which is often criticized in comparison to the Guardiola-like aesthetical approach, is relatively short-sighted. Think of the countless times, including Mourinho's latter years, when pragmatism hasn't been enough. But somehow, Simeone managed to keep up with the demands of the modern game while staying true to his defensive roots. He deserves to be seen in a better light than just being the master of low blocks. Even without heavy instruments, he has managed to keep the club close to the top while being a constant menace in European competitions. The day he moves on from Atletico might bring more clarity to how important he is for the club. The current season is no different, as they find themselves in the top 3 league spots with an ill-fitting Real Madrid attack and a young Barcelona squad. Could Simeone pull off another upset? Let us know if you think Madrid could clinch another league title soon.